It's our first football Friday of the year. We'll get you ready for the Bison heading to Nashville. Plus, NFL picks with my dad and a heck of a lot more. Hot Mic on a Friday starts now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Friday morning. Welcome to the second spinner edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV. Good morning, everybody in Sioux Falls. KNBN in Western South Dakota. And Inforum.com. Happy Friday, everybody. 5th day of September 2025. Beautiful start. It's going to feel like fall out there for those going to football games tonight. Wherever you are in North Dakota, South Dakota, or Minnesota, where we're heading, it's not going to feel like fall. Last time I checked, it's supposed to be 90 in Nashville when we land. The plane is not necessarily waiting for us today like last week, but we're heading to the Big Bird after the show wraps up, down for the Music City and our trip to Nashville, North Dakota State, with its football game tomorrow afternoon against Tennessee State. Eric, what do you want to set the under-over on how many phone calls, emails we're going to get of why the game is not on WDAY? You said it. You can set it for us this week. What do we got?
I'm going to give some faith in Bison fans.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I'm going to go, let's go 5.5.
I'm hammering the over. I'm telling you.
I'm giving
now.
some Bison fans some faith because a lot
Okay.
of them are going to be there. So they're not going to need to
Yeah,
watch
but there's
it.
still going to be a lot of people that are not going to be there. They're going to wonder, why is WDAY not have the game on?
I'm going to go 5.5.
All right. 5.5 is the
I'm being
under-over.
generous, Bison
All
fans.
right.
Don't let me down here.
Boy. All right. Well, we'll come back on Monday and maybe laugh at that. But
By the way, it's supposed to rain in Nashville tomorrow.
I saw that. We got some storms moving in actually as we're landing, which ought to be fun. But we'll look forward to that. We'll be there later today, and Bison Game Day live tomorrow morning. Our post-game show afterwards on WDAY Plus. But again, the game is on ESPN Plus. Just there. That's just going to say it now. I think we've said it every day this week, but fair reminder: the game is on ESPN Plus tomorrow for North Dakota State's game with Tennessee State. So just fair warning on that. We got a packed show coming up for you on this Friday. It is our first NFL Friday of the year, which means our pick segment is back with my dad. Looking forward to that. Locked and loaded, of course, for the opener. The Steelers play the Jets, so there's trash talking involved there. We'll have our eliminator picks. If you missed it, this year we are having a Hot Mic Eliminator Challenge among us here at the station. And a $100 gift card to Shields is up for grabs. We will reveal everybody's picks at the end of the show. You pick one team a week. If you win, you move on. You can't pick that team again. If you lose, you're done. So we'll unveil that coming up before the show is done today. We'll talk some Minnesota Twins because we're obligated to, but we love talking with Cory Provus. We'll show you what happened there at Target Field last night here in a little bit. Also, we'll check in on the FCS game of the weekend. It is in Bozeman, Montana, tomorrow night. Montana State, South Dakota State playing in week 2. This is a back end of a home-and-home they played a couple years ago. You remember the Jacks nicked the Bobcats there at the end, and still a controversial call that I'm not sure still why they didn't review it, on a touchdown in the back of the end zone. That being said, South Dakota State won the game, and now they got to go out to Bozeman. Montana State hasn't lost a regular season home game in years. Their last home loss came to the Bison in the epic playoff game in 2023. So we'll check in on that coming up later on. Excited about to preview that. Not sure we're going to see the end of it. The game starts at 7. We're supposed to get home around 10. I don't think we're going to see it, but because there'll be some interested party on the charter wanting to know how that game turns out. So we'll preview that coming up later on in the show. But let's start. We got our first Thursday night game of the season last night. Eagles, Cowboys, which when we saw the schedule, we knew Philadelphia was going to be in this game because of the reigning champs, and that's how the NFL works. I think, at least I was surprised, I'm sure there were others, that Washington wasn't the pick, considering the Commanders had the great year last year. They lost to Philly in the NFC Championship game, but they picked Dallas, and then Dallas has the drama last week with Micah Parsons being traded to Green Bay. So, and it's the Cowboys. It's the Eagles. They despise one another. That was the backstory. And then before the game even began, we had drama on the field between Dak Prescott and Jalen Carter. And I mentioned a second spitter incident. You can see Carter spits on Dak Prescott. Prescott earlier spit at the ground. Carter thought he was spitting at it. It's the dumbest thing ever. Carter gets ejected. Dallas takes advantage as they go right down with a Javonte Williams touchdown to make it 7-rip. Eagles respond on, we've seen this too often over the last few years. Hurts can just kill you with his legs from 4 yards out. Ties the game at 7. We move. It's a 17-14 game late in the first half. This is a beautiful throw right on the money to get the Eagles inside the 25-yard line. Set up this with Saquon Barkley. Bull rushes his way in from 10 yards out. Philly takes a 21-17 lead. Brandon Aubrey would drill a 53-yard field goal, so it's 21-20. Now 24-20 in the third. Big play here as the Cowboys are driving. The ball is fumbled. Watch. The ball comes loose there. It's clearly out before anything is down. Watch Dak makes the tackle here. Maybe saved a touchdown. Of course, then the mimicking of the push. Then the weather came in. The game was delayed for an hour because of lightning in the area. It rained hard, but no actual lightning strikes at the stadium. So when they resume, nobody scores. Dallas has a chance here. That's a beautiful throw by Dak, and CeeDee Lamb drops the ball. Our guy Dylan Vogt, who picked him in the Hot Mike Fantasy Draft, cursing it there because he couldn't come up with it. Now 2 minutes to go. It's 4th down. Dallas needs a first down to keep the game going here, and Lamb can't come up with that one. Now, admittedly, that was way harder than the first one. That's a tough catch. The first one, you got to make. That one, I know it's in his hands, but he couldn't come up with it. So Philadelphia, all they need to do is pick up a first down, and why wouldn't you keep it with Jalen Hurts, who might be the MVP this year? He picks up a first down. Eagles are able to run out the clock, and they beat Dallas 24-20 in a game that would seem like it was going to finish like 45-41. Only one score in the second half, just the Elliott field goal from 58 yards to give Philadelphia the win. Dallas played well. Got to give them the nod on that. Philadelphia's got some, obviously they lost some guys. And then when you lose your best defensive player before the game even begins, that's a hard thing to overcome. But they get the win, 24-20, the final. Now, plenty of the national outlets are going to spend time on this. I'm not going to do too much. All I'll say is this. For any young players and kids that were watching the start of the game last night, you can't do that. You just can't. And NBC had time with the hour delay. They went back and give all the credit to their producers because they were nonstop on this to go and find the other angle of Dak when he's talking with, and because one of the Eagles special teamers tore his ACL, that's why there was the delay, or else this doesn't even happen. We play the football game on that play. And NBC found an angle of Prescott spitting towards the ground in front of Carter, and Carter thought, obviously, that he was spitting at him, and then he did what he did. You just can't do that. There's no time nor place for it. I think I had more issue with the fact we showed it on the highlights that he was smiling coming off the field. Like, you did something wrong, dude. You can't do that. And he's lucky it didn't cost his team the game because, he's the guy. Chris Collinsworth said it perfectly during the broadcast. I think he said we prepared 80% of our broadcast to talk about Jalen Carter, and now he's gone. And Dallas was going to have to double team him on every play. So if you don't have him out there, that's a monster deal to not account for. As it is, they found a way to win. I'm intrigued to see what the NFL does. Do they suspend him for doing that? I wouldn't bemoan it. Let's just say if it happens, but they ended up pulling it out down the stretch there. With a game that could have been, like I said, it was aiming towards 35-31, ends up 24-20. What'd you make of last night's game?
So I'm going to say this, and I say this all tongue-in-cheek. The NFL is getting soft because if you can't flex on a guy, like get up and flex because he made a nice tackle, and that's a personal,
when did that happen? I missed that.
Nolan Johnson, I think, tackled Javonte Williams, I think, and he got up and he started flexing like a normal guy would do.
And they got a personal foul.
And he got a personal foul for it. It's like, really? You're going to be that soft already? Like, I get it. It's a point of emphasis, but that's not even, like, the worst thing. People are shooting, like, having finger guns.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that, but it's a flex. Get over it.
Yeah, it's something that's always been a hot topic on that. They're under more scrutiny than ever, all the officials, to make sure they don't let things get out of hand.
And the fighting was out of hand, too.
Yep. You knew that was coming, too, with these two teams, especially how it started. If you're going to have one guy spit at another, that's going to certainly raise the intensity level, and what went down last night in South Philly. So Dallas Cowboys look pretty good, honestly. If they had a devastating defensive player, who knows what could have happened, but we know what happened there. All right, real quick, and I mean quick, the Twins lost again to the White Sox. Worst made it, and I'll save more of this for Cory when he joins us about a half hour. The game was delayed by 90 minutes because of rain, which I don't even know who stayed after that. They got to see that blast from Matt Wallner make it a 6-4 Twins lead. It was 7-4 when Kyle Teal hammers this one for a 3-run shot. I've seen enough of Travis Adams. If I see him anytime soon, it's too soon. He gave up that 3-run homer. Then another home run. This one was crushed. Colson Montgomery hit that one to St. Cloud. The White Sox win it. 11-8 is the final. History was made last night. You see on the screen there, Twins swept by the White Sox. It has never happened before that the White Sox have swept the Twins at home in a 4-game series. History made last night, folks, by the White Sox, who've won 6 in a row against Minnesota. They win all 4 games of this in front of family and friends last night. Apparently 13,188 paid attendance. It was not good. Again, there are guys here I don't need to see pitch again. Taj Bradley, who they picked up, who they trade for Taj? That was Griffin Jacks, right? To the Rays. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. He's not been good. Adams, again, if I see him again, it'll be too soon. 1 inning, 4 runs, 3 hits. Then Genesis Cabrera, your guy Michael Tonkin pitched again last night, and then somebody called Noah Davis. I understand it's going to be like this. It's just, this is embarrassing. Now 16 games under 500 are the Twins. Just 10 up on the White Sox. There's no, Chicago could catch them. There's no depth there to what the Twins could go to wrap up the season. I really thought 100 losses was out of the picture. It may not be. They could do it. Granted, they'd have to lose 22 in a row, but it'd be, I mean, what are they doing? Who's out there?
What's the Twins' excuse? I mean, they got their neighbors across the state and the Brewers who basically have the same payroll, and they're
ownership
what they're doing.
Ownership is the excuse.
Our owner is bad too.
I wouldn't agree with that. I think
ad nauseam. People are calling for. I know the Brewers are good, but people want him out.
Yeah,
he's
but
cheap.
See, I guess I have a different viewpoint on it. I thought Milwaukee is always either they've spent on guys, they have drafted well, certainly on that. I mean, look at their young core. Churio's a beast. I mean, your guy Bryce Terang's really good. I mean, they've found and developed. That's the key part. If you're asking me in all seriousness, development is the number one deal. The guys on the Brewers have developed into really good or all-star major leaguers. The Twins have not done that.
Well,
they just haven't.
Look at the Brewers. Like when they trade away guys, look how good they actually are. Like Devin Williams this year, he hasn't been good for the Yanks. Josh Hader has been okay.
I think the Mets broke Devin Williams at the end of last year. That's just me. But yes, but you're right. They sold high, right? They sold on guys who maybe maxed out when they were with Milwaukee. And that's also, you got to know when to move on from guys, and they've done that. But to me, if anything, and I don't watch the Brewers nearly as much as Eric does, but for when they're on, they're guys, and they paid Yelich, and I understand he hasn't played like he did a few years ago, but they spent big money on one superstar. But just real quick, and this isn't Brewers fan line, but you look at the guys that they have developed that have come up, homegrown dudes. Churio's one of them. Frelick's a good player. Terang. I mean, those three right there. The Twins have 1.5 on Royce Lewis. We don't know yet on Brooks Lee. We have it on Buxton. That's it. You don't have any. I mean, Keeshaw's a nice young player, but he's played less than 30 games. So you can't go there yet. That's the difference if you're asking me on where we're at with Milwaukee and Minnesota.
And just one more thing. Look at the trade pieces they get back. Like when they traded Savali to the White Sox, they got Andrew Vaughn, and he's been tearing it up, and he wasn't any good in Chicago. And I think it was, they got Caleb Durbin with the Devin Williams trade. Like, he's been dominant at third base. And Joey Ortiz with the Corbin Burns trade. Like, they're just...
And Mizorowski's another one.
Yeah,
right?
Homegrown guy.
Another homegrown guy that they developed that's, turned into all-star.
Fun fact about him, and I didn't know this until I looked it up earlier this year. He was going to be on the same team as Paul Skeens and at LSU had the Brewers not drafted him as high as they did.
Yeah, that's unfair. That would have been a bit difficult for college baseball teams to face those two. But we'll talk more baseball coming up here in about 20 minutes with our guy, Cory Provus. We got a packed show coming up for you here on this Friday, Football Friday. Our guest lineup is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. You'll hear from Fargo South alum Reis Kessel coming up here in just a few minutes. We had a chance to visit with Reis during Bison player availability this week. Put on scholarship earlier this year, got his first career catch last week. This is a guy, I picked a click guy, so I'll toot my own horn a little bit, that he could be a dude for the Bison this year, and you'll get to hear from him coming up in just a few minutes. I mentioned Cory Provus will join us from Kansas City. Twins will open up a series with the Royals. Kansas City's hanging around in the wild card race in the American League. We'll chat maybe more about the Royals and the Twins coming up at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, excited to welcome onto our show Leon Costello, Montana State Athletic Director. It's a biggie in Bozeman. They've got the Jackrabbits in town. We'll talk about that, plus about the Cats and the Bison playing in Las Vegas in a couple years, how Montana State figured into that. We'll chat with Leon coming up at 10. And as I mentioned, it is Friday during an NFL season. That means the return of our pick segment, year 6 of doing that with my dad. That's coming up at 10:35 with some red-hot winners for you heading into the weekend. So we'll do that before we say goodbye on this Friday. We are off and rolling. We're glad you're joining us. When we come back, Reis Kessel on getting on scholarship, starting to stand out for the Bison. Hot Mike, back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. Off and rolling on this Friday morning. We're heading out tomorrow, or today for Nashville. Tomorrow, the game from Nissan Stadium. Bison Game Day gets you started at 10 a.m. on WDAY with myself, Sam, Kyle, and Jeff. The game is at 1:30 against Tennessee State, exclusive on ESPN+. It's their broadcasters, so I'll be interested to see how it looks. We'll be down on the field and get you ready for postgame as well right afterwards on WDAY+ and Inforum.com with our Bison postgame live show. So looking forward to that. My first trip to Nashville, that's I hear it's the place to go. So the gauntlet has been thrown down. I saw plenty of pictures on social media yesterday of Bison fans that were heading out of Fargo. Bison basketball assistant coach Luke Streggy was at the airport recruiting and took a photo of Hector Pack with Bison fans. I believe there was a direct flight yesterday, an Allegiant flight that left yesterday morning that got to Nashville around 12 o'clock. Are they daily for Nashville out of Hector? I don't know that. So I don't know if that was added for this game. I know they have a direct flight. I just don't know if it's a daily one that goes.
I don't think it's a daily
Okay.
thing. I think they just added the flight for
the game?
For the game.
Okay. So because Allegiant flight yesterday that left out of Hector at 9:45 and got to Nashville about noon. That's perfect. 2-hour flight. That is, that's straight shot. I overheard some of our crew talking about it today. Anytime you don't have a layover, you're A-okay. So that's the curious thing about this weekend, to see how many fans are going to be there. I'm really interested about that once we arrive later today. They're going to see our next guest, who was a standout in high school that really didn't start to blossom until late in his high school career, ended up getting on the Bison radar, and boy, NDSU is glad he did, because a local kid that may turn into be one of the offensive weapons for the Bison in 2025. We're talking about Fargo South kid Reis Kessel. Can't say kid, he's a big man. Redshirt freshman tight end who got his first career catch last week against the Citadel, was put on scholarship earlier this year. We had a chance to visit with him on Tuesday to get his thoughts about getting into the lineup and now making an impact for the Bison.
Describe last Saturday, getting out there, getting a catch. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I mean, obviously it felt surreal just growing up in Fargo and watching the Bison play your whole life. Then I kept telling people I don't really remember the catch just because of how crazy the moment was. But, yeah, it was just awesome to, get the first catch and just get a win out there.
Coach Polisek has had watching you for a while. What was spring ball like, saying, okay, this is maybe a chance for me to do well, maybe I can get on the field?
Yeah, spring ball went really well. Made my way up the depth chart. Had some meetings with Coach P. Told me that I think it was like last year around this time that it's a possibility I could get on the field this year. And yeah, we just took it from there, and it's just now I'm where I am. So yeah.
You're also tested as like one of the 20 fastest guys, which at your height may seem contradictory there. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Where's the speed come from?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I did track in high school. Maybe my dad, who knows? But yeah, we wore those catapults, and I think I was like, I don't know what I was, but I was up there with the speed. So yeah.
You were over 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think I was like 20.3 or 20.2 or something like that. So yeah.
How do you separate yourself from the other tight ends? What do you think your defining characteristic is?
I'd say what separates me is I say I have a lot of grit, and I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to do my job every single time, whatever the coaches want me to do. I'd say I use my skills, like my hands, my speed. I use that to separate me as well.
I know everything almost happened late in the recruiting process. Go back and tell us about that when the Bison came in, and you mentioned growing up watching them play. Was it a no-brainer when they were really?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I signed up for the NDSU football camp like 2 weeks before. I was maybe not even going to do it, and I signed up, and it just went from there. So, yeah, it's crazy for sure.
They decided to offer you. What was that emotion like?
Yeah, Coach Enns told me, I think, the second day, and I don't know, I went home, told my parents. I mean, I think they were even surprised. They were like, it was just a big roller coaster of emotions, but obviously it turned out very well. So
now your family's doing it again with your younger brother. What's that like from you to observe it, what he's going through? You just did it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, my mom's always talking to me like, you got to help your little brother with the recruiting process, because he doesn't know what's going on really. So I try and help him out the best I can, help him like what to say to coaches, how to go through that process, and yeah, just try and help him out.
And you're on scholarship now? Were you a walk-on?
Yeah, I came in as a preferred walk-on, got that at the camp, and then last week I got put on scholarship, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
What was that? Describe that. How you were told. And what were
yeah. So we got done with a unit meeting upstairs, and then I went into the meeting room with Polisek, and he just basically told me that I'm on scholarship and working hard, And then he announced it to the team, I think, 2 days later. So,
what was that like in front of the team?
It was awesome. My team's awesome. My teammates give everything to them, and yeah, it was just an awesome moment. They all congratulated me, high-fived me, just stuff like that.
More importantly, what was a phone call to mom and dad?
Yeah, it was crazy. I actually went home that night and told them, because obviously I'm from Fargo. So, yeah, the look on their face, I kind of told them just right when I got home, and they were just – it was an awesome moment for sure. So.
Being the dad of a college kid, that was a look of relief.
Yeah.
It wasn't about you, it was about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Halsick has talked about 3 times. He's told us to watch the route you ran on your catch. That it was just a perfect route. The way you identified the coverage and you made the cut. Is that like part of your strength? Does that talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say one of my strengths was for sure my route running, my catching, just stuff like that. I kind of took him to the middle of the field, squared him up a little bit, just what I'm taught by my coach, Coach Larson. He teaches me a lot. Squared him up, and then snapped it off. It's what we call a Dover route. So I guess he said I did good, so it worked out well.
Halsick can't stop talking about it, so you must have liked what you did. So
that's cool. Yeah, for sure.
That's our conversation with Reis there, who neat story, especially being a Fargo kid. When he found out he got put on scholarship, to be able to go actually tell mom and dad in person, that's fantastic. And the athletic ability is there. The height, size, all the components are there for him to be a really, really good player. And at a spot at tight end where we had some question marks heading into the season regarding what NDSU was going to do at that spot. Carson Williams was dinged up all of fall camp. He did not play in the Citadel game. Finn Diggins got hurt on the second or third play of the game. His status unknown for tomorrow. That we may see number 81 out there moving down the field and making some plays. Something to keep our eyes on. I think not just for tomorrow, but the rest of the season. Guy's a huge piece potentially of this Bison offense. We'll break. More football chatter coming up in our second hour. We come back. Cory Provus will join us. Voice of the Twins. They get set for a weekend series in Kansas City. Beautiful Friday morning is underway. We're back on Hot Mic right after this.
Deep to left center field. Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. Hey, struck him out swinging at 101. Swinging a drive. Left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
It is Friday at 9:30, which means we visit with Cory Provus, the voice of the Twins. His appearances are brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. I feel for him because we chatted. We showed the highlights earlier. The game was delayed. Then it took a 3.5-hour baseball game. Then get on a flight. These are the what people don't see about the glamorous of television and doing broadcasting, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't happen too often. It's still, the plane is waiting for you. You don't touch your bags. You're staying at beautiful hotels. It could be a lot worse. Yeah. So it's a long night, quick turnaround. But you know what? Nothing was going to stop me from chatting with my buddy Dom Izzo. I don't care how sleep deprived I am today, buddy.
All right, we got to make sure we save that loop. That was pretty good. This whole week had to be a challenge. I'm talking for you personally, just to do the games. There's nobody there. The team isn't playing well. The White Sox are beating their brains in. Just describe the challenge of the broadcaster. You got to call the game. That's your main objective. But to try and put a rosy glow on that is really hard to do considering what happened this week.
Well, I was telling Perk when the series started, I said, hey, there's a good chance the umpires are going to hear you. So just be careful this week about what you say and your tone. Because they'll probably hear you from our booth with how the ballpark was going to look. None of it was surprising with school starting up. I think the two teams where they're at, that I wasn't surprised with the turnout. And look, I'm never going to judge fans for coming or not coming. That's their own lives and what they have going on. I'm not privy to all that. So I wasn't surprised. But the caliber of play drives it. And I think when you have a good product and you're winning games, it's more appealing to go. And the Twins, since the All-Star break, are the worst team in baseball. I can't sugarcoat that. They're 15-29. And what we saw this week is what we've seen quite a bit, that, You get to the bullpen, and then who knows? And when you trade away your top 5 bullpen guys, I don't think anybody's shocked by these results. It doesn't make it any easier, but it feels like Groundhog Day. We're seeing the same kind of game where, there are stretches when you can pin it on the offense, and they've had some rough games, runners in scoring position, but how many times have we seen these guys score 5, 6, 7, 8 runs and still lose? And it's just that the pitching numbers are horrendous right now. And it's not to put all the blame on the bullpen, because there have been some moments where the starters haven't been good. Joe Ryan got hit hard a couple of times, and he's been as good as any starter in the game. Bailey's had trouble keeping the ball in the ballpark all year long. They get a jolt with Pablo back here tonight. Bradley was fantastic against San Diego. Wasn't as sharp last night. Thought his curveball looked really good, though, so we're seeing some progress with him. But, when the bullpen is coming in and giving up 4 or 5 runs an inning, 6 runs an inning, and then they're out of it, it's just become the same game pretty much every day.
I don't know if you have any update or let fans know with Ryan Jeffers what happened with him and any update there.
I don't listen to the post-game show too often. At that point, I unplug and I'm on to music at that point. But I did listen last night because I wanted to get the update on Jeffers, and all we heard was that it was a head contusion. So I don't think it was anything with the first foul ball. That concerned me because that caught him flush right on the mask. That didn't look good. But then there was the odd one. It was deflected ball. I think it was Lenyn Sosa deflected off of his knob, and they caught him on the side. And then he had an at-bat the following half inning, didn't take a good swing. So, I think it was more the second foul ball than it was the one directly off the front. But just a head contusion. Remember, the Twins did not bring up a third catcher when they added, to the roster in September. They added a position player, Deshaun Kersey Jr. I would be shocked if there's not at least, if it's Johnny Pareda, somebody else that's here on taxi at minimum, because Ryan Fitzgerald right now is the emergency catcher. Let's not go down that path here where you have a chance to expand some rosters. Let's not be silly about this. Let's get some protection, because these guys are still competing. Pablo and Joe and these guys, numbers matter to these guys. And let's not just, let's just hope for the best. I just can't imagine a scenario where there's not another catcher here in Kansas City tonight, that at minimum Dom is on the taxi squad.
I had to ask you this because on the rosters expanding, and I remember the days, and it was not long ago, when they went to 40, and I know the games would take forever because there would be a bunch more guys up. Were you surprised at who the Twins brought up? Because I know fans were like, well, this is it? This is what they're bringing to add for September? Did that strike you as odd or bizarre?
No, it made sense because of the style of play they're trying to employ right now. They're trying to play speed, run, aggressiveness on the bases, and Deshaun Kersey Jr. is their best option for that in the minor leagues. I did ask Rocco yesterday in the media session. This whole thing came up because basically I don't know what else to talk about on a nightly basis at this point. And I did ask him, do you any part of you miss, and I'm all for the new way of doing this, by the way. I hated when it was the most important month of the year and you've got one team playing 35 guys, you've got another team playing 27 guys. I couldn't stand it. I hated it. So I'm glad they came up with this rule. But my question to Rocco was, there was an advantage in that I think it was a reward to a minor league player that if you had a good season, here's the carrot, come up and debut. Now, that's when the minor league season ended earlier, too. And Perk mentioned that last night. They used to end regular season around Labor Day. Now it stretches into mid-September, third week of September, depending on how far you go. So there's some value with these guys that they still get to play. But normally when rosters expanded, the first move was always a third catcher, was always to protect yourself. That was the clear-cut number one ad. We had a third catcher. And I asked Rocco, I said, have you noticed a pattern with contending teams? Did they add that? Did the contending teams, was that still their number one want, or were they going for a speed element off the bench? He didn't know all the, it wasn't a fair question to study all the rosters of the contending teams. He did mention, though, that they had debate, that they did discuss the idea of adding a third catcher, but they opted to go with Kersey just because of the style of play that they're utilizing right now.
You mentioned numbers, and I don't know if we had a chance to get into this last week with Royce Lewis's comments that caught on about how not adjusting and worried about his numbers. And I know some fans may have taken umbrage with that. And obviously, Royce has turned it around here. And I want to talk about the segment you guys did with him before the game, because that was really neat on his defense and miking him up. But did you make anything of that? Because guys, their contract is based on what they put up. And if their arbitration numbers aren't good, then they're not going to be able to win that. What did you make of what he said last week?
Wasn't surprised. I think a lot of people feel that way. A lot of players feel that way, but rarely do they say
it. Yeah.
I think that's the surprise that it took away from that. Now, I think Royce has been I think he's been wonderfully engaging to cover, because he doesn't give you cliches. He gives you a lot of truthful takes by his locker on the field, and in an era where it is so easy to go with any sports cliche you have in your bag, he doesn't. And I think he gets penalized for that, good and bad. So I always appreciate how candid he is and how honest he is, how upfront he is. But it's rare for a player to admit it in that context. And, for Royce to talk about his career and to talk about his salary and taking care of his family and trying to get to arbitration, some of it with the injuries that he's had, I mean, I'm sure there was a point where after 2023, with what he did, the expectation for 2024, the Twins probably, remember his agent Scott Boras, but I would imagine the Twins had some internal, maybe it even reached Scott Boras, about signing him and buying out some years like you see other teams do. Some teams even do that before they even play a single big league game with what, Jackson Churio with Milwaukee. The Brewers did that. Colt Keith with the Tigers. They signed him before even he played a single big league game. I would imagine that they had some discussion about that. I don't think that's happening now. I think you ride out the process with the renew for 3 years, and then you get to arbitration for 3, and then see how the system plays out, just because of what's going on with him from a health standpoint. But I would imagine that, let's think about signing this cornerstone player based on what he did in 2023 and see if it works out.
Give us the backstory for those. I was watching the game the other night, and you had a tape piece earlier that you and Perk did with Royce mic'd up when he was doing fielding lessons before the game.
I think that stuff is so neat.
It's cool.
And I love that we've done that a bit more this year, from Harrison Bader when he was taking fly balls during BP and center, taking us through his process. And then I know Justin has done some work with Trevor Larnach and Brooks Lee in terms of hitting in the cage. And Paul Molitor did a fascinating segment with Tim Laudner on the field talking about base running. So I think it's just trying to provide some more access. And yes, so Royce took us into his routine and what he does, and his outs above average. Some of his numbers have dropped. A rare throwing error last night, because his throwing has been so much better. And that was something that we asked him about, was all the work that you're doing. And I said, what have you done with your strength, your upper body, your throwing to improve that part of your game? And he corrected me quickly and said, that has nothing to do with throwing. It's all about your base. And then he took us through that with a certain drill that he has, and how he's got his tail turn, he'll get the ball, drop step, and his left foot is in line with the base he's throwing to. And it's succinct, consistent work that I don't notice with the naked eye, but you bet it is a part of his routine. And this was on a day, Dom, he wasn't even playing. But this is still a part of his routine. He does it every single day just to keep that muscle memory going. And I think all that work has certainly paid dividends with the improved defense he's had this year.
We'll break. We come back much more with Cory from Kansas City. We'll talk about the matchup with the Royals. Plus, Pablo Lopez is going to be back tonight after missing the last 3 months. More with Cory Provus on the other side of the break on Hot Mic after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour, back with Cory Provus from Kansas City. Twins and Royals coming up tonight. And then a national TV game, which Cory will actually have the call of that tomorrow on Fox before they wrap up. And then they're heading out to the West Coast, take on the Angels. I don't know if I thought we'd see Pablo Lopez pitch again. I know he wanted to do it. I know he said it. He said it to you guys in the broadcast. But he's going to do it tonight. That says a lot about him, I think, because the season is lost. He could easily just shut it down, but he's not going to do that. He's going to come back tonight.
He was adamant from the start that he was going to pitch again this season, and what I've learned with that guy is I believe him. He is he's one of one. I mean, he is. I've had the privilege of covering 3 different teams, and I don't think I've ever been around a guy like Pablo Lopez. Just who he is on the field, more off the field, just how engaging and how up front he is, and how good he is too. So I think it means a lot. I think it also, as the Twins kind of turn this roster around, there's a lot of young dudes that are seeing this on the team now, in the minor leagues. I'm even talking into the rookie ball, Latin American players that look up to Pablo, that respect Pablo and follow his every move, and they're seeing what he's doing. And your point, Dom, I think is very valid that the season's over from a competitive standpoint. But hey, still be a pro, still go out, do your rehab, do your work, and get back out there and help your team. And he's doing that. So I'm thrilled to see him pitch here again tonight. He's had a lot of success against the Royals. It's odd that it lines up that way with how many starts he's had, as a Twin here at Kauffman Stadium. But yeah, I'm thrilled to see him back. He's worked really hard, and hopefully he does well tonight.
Is he under a pitch restriction, Cory? Like how long do we see him out there tonight?
I would imagine. I mean, I didn't see the 5. I think he got up between 80, 85 pitches in his last rehab starts. I would say 90, 95, maybe even 100. I mean, Rocco, I don't know if he'll give a finite number on it here tonight. I'm sure there is, but I don't know how much of that will be public. But, he's not going to throw 120. And they may keep him around 85 or 90 here tonight. But again, where do they go? If he leaves with the lead,
right?
I mean, Justin Topa got hot last night. He was warming up in the bullpen. Sands threw 2 innings 2 days ago. I don't know unless they make some more moves today. Maybe they do. I mean, maybe they add some fresh arms. Today as the day goes on, we see some more roster transactions. But I think let him go and see what happens. But don't be foolish about it. But I think the Twins, for the time being, are going to go to a 6-man rotation.
I want to chat a little here on Kansas City, who's hanging around. I think they're 2 games out on the wild card here for a team that made it, obviously, last year with high expectations. I think Seth Lugo just went on the injured list, though, one of their great starters. What do we make of this Kansas City team, and can they get hot here and steal a playoff spot?
They had a good win yesterday. Last night, they were on the verge of being swept at home by the Angels. They haven't been very good at home. They're under 500 at home. Their run differential's negative at home, which is surprising. Yeah, because it's such a great place to play. I love calling games here, and just the fans are awesome. Great ballpark. But their pitching is fantastic. Their pitching is really good. They have one of the best players in the game in Bobby Witt Jr., who hit the game-winning home run last night. They just lack a lot of firepower on offense, and that has worked against them for a long time, especially in the corner outfield spots. They're going with some veterans right now, but the trade for Mike Yastrzemski, that's turned out to be a good move because he's playing a lot of right. He's playing well since he joined the team from the Giants, but even a guy like Adam Frazier, a veteran infielder, he had a big home run yesterday for his 1,000th hit. Salvador Sal, you know what you're going to get with him, future Hall of Famer, but can they get enough offense? That's the thing that's going to, I think, put them in or keep them out, because they can withstand some injuries to Reagans and even to Lugo. With Noah Cameron, rookie, has pitched really well, had a good start last night. The Twins are going to see Michael Wacha tonight. He's been good. And then Stephen Kolek is going to go tomorrow night, and he's among the pitchers they got from the Padres in the Freddie Fermin trade. So there's going to be opportunities for some guys now, but still, the pitching is good. The pitching can hold out here, I think, as long as they need to. It's going to be about the offense. Can this team muster enough to keep them in the fight? They have some big series coming up. Seattle, who they trail in the wild card race, is coming to town for a series. They have the tiebreaker over Texas, so they have some things that work for them. But that series coming up mid-September at home against Seattle is going to be massive.
Well, they got your guy. I know you love Vinny Pasquantino as well. He's a really good player.
Yeah, he's got 28 homers, the Pasquatch, and many of these guys, weren't playing well in September, and that's why they hadn't won a September game until last night. But Pasquantino had a home run last night. He's interesting. He's just a fun. He's a fun guy to kind of see and follow on social media. I don't know him very well. I met him once, but years ago when he made his debut and Joe Ryan was finding his way, Dan Gladden was talking with Vinny and Rex Hudler in the Royals dugout at Target Field before a game, and Danny challenged Vinny Pasquantino and said, "Hey, Joe Ryan does that swim move. I dare you to do it. I dare you to do it one time before your first at bat." He's like, he thought about it. He didn't do it, but he thought about it. And so every time I see Pasquantino, and especially a game like tomorrow when Joe's going to pitch, I just always wonder, like, is he going to actually do it? Does he remember that conversation with that wild man Dan Gladden? This guy challenged me, this guy with his mullet, challenged me to do the Michael Phelps, Joe Ryan swim move before an at bat. Haven't done it, but maybe I will.
After this weekend, then it's on to the Angels, and there's another team that perennially has underperformed. Even with they had Ohtani and Trout on the same team and could never put it together. I can never figure out that baseball team. They perennially underperform. And just shake your head at it.
Yeah, it's amazing. That'll be one of the fascinating trivia questions and unanswerable questions. I think looking back on it, how did that team not make the playoffs one time when they had Mike Trout and Ohtani? Now Trout often hurt. I mean, so that's Trout has had a ton of injuries in recent years. That's a big part of it, but. Angels, they've been hovering around that 500 mark here, up and down, and they're a much better team from when the Twins saw them. The Twins saw them back, gosh, that was in May, I think, when they swept them, and that team was going nowhere and nowhere fast, and they've had some better performances here. They played a little bit better, and Ron Washington, wish him all the best. He's not managing the team right now. We didn't really know much about it until recently. He underwent a significant heart operation that forced him, understandably so, to leave the dugout and leave the game for the time being. He still wants to manage one day, but he's not managing currently, which makes all the sense in the world. But we wish him well.
Last thing, I got an email here before I let you go, because email says, Cory, we've seen other broadcasts out in the stands. The Cubs did it earlier this week from Wrigley. Would you guys be interested in doing that at Target Field, calling a game from out in the stands?
Yeah, I mean, Danny and I did that a couple of years ago. We had a sponsor that literally sponsored us to move around the ballpark, and we did one game from Jim Polad's suite. He's got a good spread up there.
I bet.
That was really good. But then he joined us for an inning, and this was a while back. But then we did one from like the Treasure Island Cove out in right center. I think it'd be fun to do a game from the dock. Yeah, I think that is something I'd be interested in doing. I think. From that right field, perch up there, I think would be really fun to see the game and do the game. It won't happen this year, but certainly something that we'll talk about and would like to do again in the future.
It's great to see you, bud. Have a great call tonight and all this weekend. We'll do it again next week, okay?
Thanks, Don. Be good, buddy.
Get some rest. There he goes. Cory Provus joining us. His appearances each and every Friday brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. Twins and the Royals coming up tonight, and then a Fox game tomorrow before they wrap it up and then head out to the West Coast. Again, it's tough sledding, and he knows it better than anybody. He's seeing it every day. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour heading to Bozeman. That's the game of the weekend in the FCS. Montana State getting ready for South Dakota State. The Cats also getting ready for a trip to Vegas with the Bison. All that coming up. We come back right after this.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 on this Friday morning, ready to rock and roll. Half hour from now, we'll do some picks with my dad to wrap up the week. We got a plane to catch. North Dakota State heading down to Nashville, Tennessee for its matchup with Tennessee State tomorrow at Nissan Stadium. Much more on that. We'll give you a little tour of what to expect coming up in about 15 minutes or so. But the game of the weekend, I'll just flat out say it. It's not in Nashville, although we're going to have some fun. It's going to be in Bozeman tomorrow night when South Dakota State comes calling to take on Montana State in the back end of a home-and-home that was scheduled a few years ago. Remember that game was a classic in Brookings that South Dakota State won. Then they'll play tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central on ESPN+. Our pleasure to have Montana State Athletic Director Leon Costello join us on this Friday morning. Busy man with a lot of going on, obviously, this weekend. And, of course, his former job was at South Dakota State, so I'm sure he's got a lot of people to visit with this weekend. First, thanks for doing this, bud. Anticipation, it's got to be through the roof in Bozeman, right?
Yeah, obviously with the season last year, record-breaking season for us last year, anticipation, expectations are really high for this year. And, the home opener, Gold Rush, is always a spectacle. But when you're bringing in an opponent like South Dakota State, it's even higher. And we've seen a lot of great atmospheres in Bobcat Stadium, but in my time, I think this is living up to maybe be the best one yet.
Okay, well, there it is. The gauntlet has been thrown down for Cat fans tomorrow. Do you know roughly how many Jackrabbit fans are going to be there tomorrow night?
Hopefully not many, but they probably very, very limited. The great thing about Bobcat fans is they buy tickets and they buy tickets early. We sold out of our allotment of season tickets very early, and so there are very few single game tickets to buy. We have our allotment that we give to every visiting team, but probably not much beyond there, unless they were brave enough to go on the secondary market to buy them. So we shall see, but I'm assuming it will be very much a Bobcat crowd.
The last 3 years, Leon, you've had North Dakota State there. You had South Dakota last year, and obviously the semifinal. Now South Dakota State. You add in the Grizz, so you get to see every other year. That's about as dynamite scheduling as you could possibly hope for home games that you've had over the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's when you're at this level in the FCS, obviously you're trying to set yourself up for playoffs at the end of the year. These games are great for it. One, they're great for fans because our fans know each other. Whether you're going to Brookings or Fargo or coming here to Bozeman, our people know each other. And I think I heard Matt Larson say it the other day, is that we've built our own rivalry at each other so many times, whether it's in the playoffs or the early part of the regular season. And these are the games that people want to play and want to see. These are games that we want to be in, and it's a good test for us and a good measure of where we are right now. And it's a good measuring stick to get us ready, for a conference run and then in a deep playoff run, which we fully expect to be there. So I'm excited. I want these games to continue because I just think it's good for everybody involved.
I want to go off of that. How important is it to have these games happen? Because it's easy for teams to go and schedule, I'll say, a cupcake FCS to make sure you get a guaranteed win. That this doesn't happen often in FCS. Can these continue? Can we hope for more of these where the top teams are playing each other in the regular season?
I think so. And in my time at South Dakota State, working with Justin, we even talked about this on the basketball side, is, our conferences and our schools are really similar because of where we're located, the success that we've had. It's really hard to schedule games. And I think these schools, the top schools in the FCS, are in the same position where they're really good. It's hard to schedule games. And so we're sitting here going, looking at each other like, why don't we schedule each other? And that makes a lot of sense. And so my hope is we can continue to kind of rotate it around and continue to play games like this, having all the Dakotas come to Bozeman, having Montana State go to the Dakotas. It's good for us. And now I think with the expanded 12-game schedule, it opens the door to be able to schedule, more games like this. And, I just read something yesterday. It's like our last 8 games have been against playoff teams that were in the playoffs. Games like this get us ready for that stretch run. And so I think it's great for everybody.
I know last week obviously didn't go the way you wanted. Are those games on life support, knowing that Big Ten has 9 conference games. The SEC is going to 9. The chances of playing like Oregon, those Washington, the teams that you've played out there, are you worried of the future of those still happening?
Yeah, it's a great question, and probably don't really know the answer quite yet. But I do feel like that's a worry, as those bigger conferences go to a 9-game conference schedule, and then putting in some parameters of playing other power schools. So yeah, there is something to that. And I would say, look, we might look to schedule a little bit different now with a 12-game schedule as well. We scheduled the Oregon game back in 2019. Yeah. Well, if you go back to 2019, COVID hadn't happened. NIL hadn't happened. The transfer portal, none of this stuff had happened. It's just it's a totally different world right now. And as it is with scheduling, it's a puzzle piece. And I think we just got to be able to adjust and be flexible and be ready to go with what presents itself to us.
Well, on the flip side, too, you guys have been really good. Are you not getting phone calls returned? NDSU's been in that boat forever. Are you getting no phone calls as well?
We're getting very few phone calls to us, and we're getting even less phone calls returned. Yeah. But, I think there's something to, like what I said, is getting playoff ready. I hope other FCS schools want that as well, as, hey, if we want to be ready to make a deep playoff run. We're going to probably meet up with a Dakota team or a Montana team. Let's go see where we are. Let's go play in an environment like that, because one, if you're not used to it, it's good for everybody. But also, if you bring fans out to it, I know like our tailgating scene, it goes back to the early 2000s. They went down to McNeese and they're like, wow, this is special. Like, we want that atmosphere to be at our home games. And, if we can help kind of build and drive FCS football, we want to be able to do that. And so, I think we'll look at scheduling hopefully more FCS schools with the expanded scheduling options. But I think you got to take what comes your way, though, too.
When we were out there, Leon, in 2023, the indoor was being built. It's now done. You describe that being done and how that changes just your whole facility, just campus-wide now, with that being completed.
Yeah, that's been on our wish list for a very, very long time. And I would say some people probably even thought they wanted that first before we built the Bobcat Athletic Complex, just because of the conditions that we have to deal with. Yeah. But we did it in an order. We had a plan. The first facility went just because it impacted everybody, and it got football to where it needed to be. And now the indoor facility really sets us up for things we need to do when the weather turns. And, to be able to get good practice in when there's snow on the ground or the field is icy and you can't get your footing on the stadium turf, it's great to be able to go into a place where you can get some good, safe practice in, but also step outside and get acclimated to the weather, because we fully expect to have home playoff games in December, and that just gets your team ready. But yeah, I think it really kind of completes that side of the road for us, especially for football and track and field, because there's a full 300-meter track in there. Yep. So now we're in the business of updating our master plan and looking at maybe some different facility needs that we need to address.
I got to ask, I've talked to Veeks about this on the hiring process. I haven't asked you on this. Give me the when you first met Brent, what stood out and say, this is the guy I think that can be our football coach?
Well, as you probably know, when you're going through a search, you do a ton of research, and you talk to a bunch of people, people that that know him, people that he's worked with. I mean, when you look at college athletics, the network gets very, very small when you're talking about coaches and administrators, and it's very easy to get in touch with people that know people. Brent was, first thing, when he walked into the room, he's a presence, right? Like, he's a big guy. He's very smart. When we were talking, offense and what he wanted to do and development of players and his process of recruiting players, it just, everything that I heard is like, wow, I love that. And I love that. And I love that aspect of him. He just fit with, what we were building here. And really kind of what we needed at the time. It's, we were coming off a 4-year kind of a successful, we increased our win total every year in those 4 years under our previous coach. And Brent just kind of took the reins and just sprinted. And, he put us into a place where, I didn't think we would be as fast as we were. And not only has he done that, he's been able to maintain it. And we've developed just an unbelievable relationship, and he's great to work with. And I can tell you this, as good as Brent is, his family is as equally as good. When you talk about Molly and the boys, you talk about a great family, and then you talk about his extended family that show up here pretty much every game. They are completely bought in. They are Bobcats now, and we're fortunate and lucky to have him here as our head coach.
Oh, if you got Randy still stalking on the sidelines there, then you know you're in good shape, because I know he doesn't miss a game. So, and he's never up in the booth.
Yeah.
I know it's fun to actually talk about stuff on the field, because you've been bombarded every athletic director, I feel, in FCS football about what was going on off the field. I have to ask, how did you guys get to where you were on the House settlement? I know once the late provisions were added to grandfather in the roster reductions, that was the deciding factor for, I know, North Dakota State and South Dakota State. Were you guys in the same boat on that?
Yep. No, we were a little before just because, and I think the main reason was we didn't have any roster issues. Where our rosters were, especially when you look at football and then some of the other sports like track and field, where you can have very large rosters. Our numbers weren't, if they were over, they weren't over very much. And, football might have been 2 spots. Track and field might have been 3. Everybody else met the roster requirement. So it was going to be very easy for us to meet those requirements immediately. And so it was very easy for us to be able to make that decision for that reason. Plus, our collective was up and running and it was doing great things. And to be able to have a little bit more control over the collective and how, money or resources were going to be distributed, we wanted to make sure that that our fans knew that, one, this was important. But also now we weren't 2 separate entities where, when we went out to people, it was like, well, no, you have to go talk to the collective, or no, that's something you can talk to us about. The messaging became much more cohesive. And it unified kind of our messages to all of our fans on, hey, if you want to put your money here, here's an easy way to do it, because now we're unified and now you can do it together with us. And to me, all of those factors together made it really easy to kind of jump in. And I do, I agree with what they did with the rosters, and I'm glad so many other people are doing it, because I do feel like it's something we need to do. But, at our level, I think we do it right. You look at some other levels, you can say it's out of control a little bit, but we're gonna operate within our means, and we're gonna help support our student athletes as well as we can and to our limits.
Last thing before I let you go, and I really appreciate your time this morning, is the announcement that happened last month on Montana State and North Dakota State are going to play at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in September of 2027. I hear the Bison part of it. Tell me how Montana State got involved in this, and what was your reaction when ESPN said we'd like you to be part of this?
Well, I think the funny part is we talk all the time. Whether it's Justin and I, or Matt and I, or even Kent Haslam and I, we talk all the time, because I feel like we are dealing with some of the same problems, but we're in different locations with different fan bases. Like, our solutions can be very similar, but we're just in different locations, so it doesn't really affect everybody. We're just kind of in the same boat. And as we're talking and thinking about where we are, kind of in this new world, this came about, and it came about, I think, because of our ESPN relationships. One with the Big Sky Conference, with the Missouri Valley Conference, and I know NDSU's relationship with ESPN. And when they brought it up, we were like, well, this just makes way too much sense. And for the reasons we talked about earlier, instead of going and playing Oregon at their place, why not showcase the FCS in a neutral site that would be great for all of FCS, and really kind of promote, kind of what true athletics is really about, as our commissioner, Tom Wistersill, likes to say. 2 great programs going to a neutral site. I think people are going to be blown away by how much our fan base has traveled and traveled down to Vegas on a holiday weekend. It's really going to showcase what's really special, about FCS football. And once we kind of got rolling, it was really an easy decision. We really just had to figure out who was playing who, and we knew we weren't playing Montana. We had played South Dakota State in the regular season a few times. We played North Dakota State in the playoffs, but not in the regular season. So that kind of made the decision of who we were going to play, rather easy. And it's kind of funny, because I saw Matt down at our convention, and we knew this was going to happen. We took a picture together. I said, hey, when this gets announced, we got to start posting this picture together. And Matt's a great guy, and I'm glad we can play in the regular season. Like I said, what a great showcase for all of FCS football.
Is it unreasonable to expect that 20,000 Cat fans could go to Vegas for that? Because I firmly believe you guys could get 20, and North Dakota State could do the same.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We talked about, what do we feel like between the 2 fan bases? What's the over-under, right? What do we feel? And I think we'd been throwing around 30,000, like, total. And so I like your number better. If we can get 20 and 20 and get 40,000 people in there, I think it would be outstanding. But I also think what's maybe unique about this is that we're going to play either Thursday or Friday night. There's another game on Saturday. What a great way to showcase all of college football in a great sports town on a holiday weekend. I think we'll have fans travel down there just to experience both events. But yeah, I think you're probably right. I like your number of 40,000 a lot better.
I might be optimistic, but hey, you got 2 years to plan for it, so why not to do it? But I really appreciate the time. I know you're a busy man. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck tomorrow night. We'll talk later during the season, okay?
All right, thanks a lot. Good to see you.
Leon Costello joining us, Montana State Athletic Director. The Cats and the Jacks coming up tomorrow night from Bozeman, 7 o'clock. It's just going to be a great environment for this game, and I'm interested out of this who wins. Obviously, if the Jacks win tomorrow night, they're 2-0 and have beaten the pretenders in Sac State, which we all saw that, but then would have gone to Bozeman and win, then you have to acknowledge that South Dakota State is not as far behind as NDSU as maybe some thought. And I'm sitting here, I'm told you, I didn't think the Jacks were going to fall off a cliff, but going to Bozeman and winning is a different deal. If Montana State wins, then you can probably throw out the result last week, which I know people are freaking out about, that they lost by 100 to Oregon, and Oregon, again, is going to be in contention for the college football playoff. That, all right, things probably are back to level water on that. I'm really, if Montana State is 0-2, then you've got to just like, all right, well, then who's the team in the Big Sky? Is it Montana? They haven't even played a game yet, and the Grizz play a D2 team tomorrow. That's why it's fascinating to see who wins this game. And it looks like, last I checked, South Dakota State is favored on the road to win against Montana State tomorrow night. That's dynamite. Going to be fantastic to see how it plays out. We appreciate his time on the show this morning. All right, we're overdue for a break. We'll get caught up here. We got a few emails to get to. We got picks coming up with my dad in about 15 minutes. Back on Hot Mic right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Short segment here. Appreciate Leon Costello joining us from Bozeman. Getting ready for the Cats and the Jacks coming up tomorrow night. Got a couple emails, and I want to make sure I set aside just a couple minutes on the portal window is changed again. Yes, it's moving one more time. Email comes in. Eric missed what he was saying when he was flexing over the player. There's no place for it. If you let those two unsportsmanlikes go, that game would have gotten a lot more out of control. Call that stuff early when you let them know where the line is. As a 35-year-plus high school official, you end up paying the price in poor sportsmanship. Glad they set the tone. That was going back what Eric was talking about earlier from the Cowboys and Eagles game from last night. Also, don't forget, we've got our eliminator picks coming up, too, before we're done today. Let's do one more. Dom, the highlight of the week with your show officially begins with your dad and his NFL picks. I've been waiting for this day when I found out the Jets and Steelers were playing right off the bat, and this makes today's show really great. Appreciate that. Yes, the trash talking will begin immediately on that, although I got nothing to stand on since the Jets haven't made the playoffs since 2010. The longest drought in all the four major sports. Not win a game. I had somebody say, wow, it's been that long since the Jets won a playoff game. Nope. It's been that long since they played a playoff game. Yeah, it's not been great. Yesterday, if you missed it, and it's available, you can read my story at Inforum.com. NCAA has passed legislation. It's got one more hurdle to go, but it's going to early next month. That's going to move the football transfer portal window to January 2nd. Off of December, which we've experienced, or heck, it was actually late November the first time we did it, to now a 10-day period. That's it. January 2nd through the 11th of 2026. There will be no more spring portal window either. That's gone. So if you want to transfer, you have that 10-day window to get your name in there. Which, for the big boy division, that will come, I believe, a day after the college football playoff quarterfinals and run through the semifinal round and be done a week before the championship game. As for the FCS, it would not open until the week of the title game. This is what college coaches have been championing for a while. They certainly wanted to get rid of 2. I know some were in the camp of they wanted it in April. I think there were a lot more that wanted it to happen in January, and they got their wish on it. I have yet to talk to Tim Polisic on this. I will as soon as probably get to the airport today because I'm really interested to hear his thoughts, considering NDSU has lost a handful of players in both window. I think the elimination of the spring one is good. That was just a harvesting ground for the big boys to go in and say, well, okay, we need a tackle, we need a running back, or we need a wide receiver. Let's go get A, B, and C from the best 5 FCS teams. Think about what NDSU's lost in the spring window the last couple of years. They lost Eli Green. They lost Marty Brown. They lost Cody Heisman. Those are 3 all-conference players that are now playing at different schools. And that's nothing to say they wouldn't have gone at a different time, but they had made it through the year, that there was probably a good chance that maybe they were going to be there for the following season and not for a spring window. And I'm not against players moving, but having something, because we've been all over the place. This is 4 years into it. First, it started in late November, and it was 45 days. Now we went from 45 to 30 to 10, which may have a legal challenge with it because some may say that restricts player movement in January. So that's the new portal window. So for teams that make the championship, they've also had that 5-day leeway. The Bison went through that last year and sweated it out after the Montana State game of hoping that their team was going to come back. Now this would happen right after the title game. You'd have the portal still, because the title game is, January 5th this year? So that's you'd still have another 6 days after it if guys want to go in the portal after the title. Well, we'll save some more time for this. I hope on Bison Game Day tomorrow, and certainly next week we'll get into it after it gets flushed out. The vote will come October 1 to make this official for the 2026 calendar. But looks like the football portal window shrinking and moving to January. We'll break. We come back. It's time to pick some winners for the first time this year. My dad's coming up with his Week 1 picks for the NFL season. That's on the other side of the break. Hot Mike back after this.
Luckily, if you'd have went with a Boston, you'd have been living in the garage. I had a Yankee hat on, of course, which I usually almost always do, but she says to me, if I were you, I'd take that hat off. And I looked at what look at to begin with. I ain't taking my hat off. I know where I am. Yeah, right.
You believe anything that guy says? Because I don't.
He said he was going to marry J-Lo, too, remember? Come on. I finally told your mom. I said, there's no sense. Let's just put TVs in the room because I'm only going to wake them up anyway. So.
But that's how I got a television? All righty, it's time to roll. It's our first edition of our NFL picks for 2025. Back for our 6th year of doing picks with my dad, which has been a fan favorite segment since we started doing it. And we're back again by popular demand. Pops, what's up? Happy Friday.
Hey, happy Friday to you, man.
Did you make it to the end of the game last night?
No, I did not. That's made it to the rain delay or lightning delay, and that's the last I remember.
You didn't miss much after that. The Cowboys had a couple chances. CeeDee Lamb dropped 2 passes, and that was pretty much it. So
I see that on the news this morning. I said, oh, there you go.
There you go.
That's a little payback to Jerry for getting rid of one of their best buddies.
What'd you make of the second spitter incident last night?
That was just, come on. I mean, geez.
Correct.
I mean, they said he did it first on the ground, but
yes.
That's, come
yes.
on.
Dak did it, but he wasn't at the guy, right?
You know what? If you're going to do it, spit right in his face. Yeah. You're going to get thrown out anyway. You might as well make it worth it. That's Philadelphia. There you go.
Wow. You're just totally throwing a whole town under the bus? Philadelphia's not that bad.
Philly is. You know that's the way Philly is.
Philadelphia.
Everybody throws snowballs at Santa Claus. Come on, give me a break. Those people, they're never going to change.
All right, here's your fair warning, because I said I would do it. Tonight's game is on YouTube, okay? It's YouTube tonight if you want to watch the football game, okay? I'm just letting you know.
I can get that on my big screen or no?
I believe you can, actually. Since you got a new television, you might be able to do that. So
I'm going to try anyway.
And it's free. You don't have to sign up for anything. You just put it on and bam, you're all good.
Yeah, but why are they even doing that then?
Don't even get me started. I don't know.
That's crazy.
It's because they're gonna have more international games next year. They're going to Australia, and I imagine that they're gonna have to pay for it. I would imagine next year. This is a test. This is a test run to do it. So
I'll watch it on the computer. The play-by-play thing. You ain't paying for nothing. Crazy.
What do we? Do you want to do your Super Bowl pick before we do our individual games here? Who do you got making the big one? Who you got it? The two teams.
Kansas City.
Oh, you're going on a limb there. Come on, seriously? Come on.
Yes.
Kansas City.
I gotta believe they're going right back.
Okay. And who are they playing?
That I'm not sure of yet. I'll wait till I don't know. It's going to be hard to tell.
We could have a rematch. Philadelphia's still really good. You know?
Philadelphia got lucky last year to even beat the Rams. People don't remember that game. If it wasn't snow, they would have never won that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking on Baltimore, on the Ravens, on the Bills to make it.
Yeah.
Those are the two hot ones. And
they'd have to beat the Chiefs. They can't do that.
Unless, they can't even do it in Buffalo. They had the chance there, and Buffalo couldn't do it. So
there you go.
There's not a lot of people.
I can't believe they're playing each other right off the bat.
Well, of course, the NFL knows what they're doing. They're going to put those two teams against one another. So
and Buffalo's the underdog.
Yeah, well, that guy that quarterbacks the Ravens is pretty good. Last I checked, but until
it comes to the big games, then so.
All right. So shall we do? Because we have our eliminator we have to get to here at the station. So we got to get rolling. So we got to reveal our picks there. So we got some people that are clawing to get that. So
okay.
All right, you ready to roll here? Let's start tonight in Brazil. The Chiefs and the Chargers with Kansas City as a 3.5-point favorite. Harbaugh has never lost a season opener. Never.
Yeah, there's always the first time. Tonight's it.
Kansas City minus 3.5. He's taking the Chiefs.
Where are they? They're in Brazil.
Brazil is where the game is tonight. Yes.
That's where they can't leave the hotel, right?
Yeah. Well, at least last year that was the case. Yeah. I don't know about this year.
I doubt it's any different.
We have people waiting on bated breath for this pick. Steelers and the Jets, the Aaron Rodgers Bowl. Why are they playing at noon? This should be a primetime game.
Yeah, but why they waited on bated breath? This ain't going to be a game.
The Jets are getting 2.5, minus 2.5 to the Steelers.
That's got to be the pick of the year right there. Only 2.5 points? Well, Steelers all the way.
Aaron Rodgers coming back. The Jets are winning this game. I'm telling you that right now. They're winning.
Yeah. Okay.
We're winning our season opener. He's got Steelers minus 2.5. Buccaneers at the Falcons. A lot of people like Baker Mayfield's team this year. Of course, the Falcons going Michael Penix Jr., their quarterback. Tampa is a 1.5 favorite on the road at Atlanta.
Yeah, I like Tampa.
You like Tampa Bay in that one. All right.
Yeah.
Tampa
this
minus.
Week is going to really be
throwing darts at a dartboard because you have no idea who's going to win.
You just don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly right.
The way it goes, it's been that way all year last year. So
Cincinnati is at Cleveland. If this is it for Joe Burrow's team, he has no defense though, and his offensive line took a hit as well. Our guy Cordell Volson out for the year. Cincinnati's a 5.5-point favorite on the road against the Browns with Joe Flacco at quarterback.
Yeah, give me Cincy. What happened to Cordell?
He hurt his shoulder. He's done for the season with a torn labrum in his shoulder. Yep, tough deal there.
Yeah, Burrow will go with this one.
Burrow's tough. I love Burrow. I love him. He just doesn't have any defense around him.
Right. Imagine if he had a defense.
I know. Dolphins are at the Colts. Indianapolis is getting 1.5. Sam has no faith in his Colts to win their opener against Tua and the Dolphins.
Yeah, give me the Dolphins.
He's got Miami minus 1.5 in that one. Raiders at the Patriots. Patriots are a 2.5-point home favorite against Vegas. Both these teams might be bad this year, though. Now, Pete Carroll is the coach. Geno Smith is the quarterback with the Raiders.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Raiders getting points. All right. But they got the old, going west to east and playing at noon. Don't you have that stat that those teams stink?
Yeah, but I like the Raiders.
It's got the Raiders there. Cardinals at the Saints. The Saints might be the worst team in the league this year. They have Spencer Rattler starting at quarterback. Arizona is a 6.5-point road favorite. Road favorite. That's a ton of points.
Yeah, that's shows you how bad they think the
Saints are. Exactly.
Give me Arizona.
He's going with it too. He likes Arizona minus 6.5 in that one.
This has got to be Murray's last year to prove something.
Yeah, I think so with Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
it's either now or never. Yep. Noon game, Giants and the Commanders. Why Washington wasn't in the game last night, I'll never know. They were the team that played in the NFC Championship against the Eagles, but they wanted Dallas. Commanders are a 5.5-point favorite against the G-Men.
Yeah, they just like the Dallas.
They like Dallas.
People, that's all. But you know what? I'm going with the Giants.
Wow, you're taking the Giants and the points. All right.
Yep. Give me the Giants.
Oh, are you doing that for your son-in-law to curry favor there? Is that the case?
Nah, he knows better. I just like Russell Wilson. I think he's going to help him.
What? Oh,
Yep.
I think you're crazy there. I don't think that's going to be very good.
You'll see.
Boy, we got some nice new graphics for your segment. Boy, we're blowing this out. This looks great. Panthers and the Jags, the last noon game. Jacksonville, we're talking about a guy, Trevor Lawrence needs to do something. Carolina might be really bad again. They traded Adam Thielen to the Vikes. Jacksonville's a 3.5-point home favorite.
Jacksonville.
Got Jacksonville minus 3.5 there. All right.
Don't ask me why. I don't know.
Late games. The Titans might be in contention with the Saints for the worst team. They have Cam Ward, the new number 1 pick, at Denver. Everybody's hot on Denver. Broncos are an 8.5-point favorite.
About them, but that's because of Peyton. That's give me Denver.
Bo Nix made the playoffs as a rookie quarterback last year. They're hot on the Broncos. They can maybe knock off the Chiefs in that division. 49ers.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't either, but we'll see. 49ers. We have something to talk about all offseason. 49ers are at the Seahawks. San Francisco, we don't know Christian McCaffrey's status. They're a 1.5 road favorite. Is San Fran at Seattle?
Well, they got to bounce back. Give me the Niners.
Okay, you got San Francisco minus 1.5 on the road. The game of the weekend, I think, is the Lions and the Packers at Lambeau. That's on CBS, by the way, for everybody back here. Green Bay is a 1.5 favorite against Detroit at home.
Give me the Pack.
Green Bay's got in the
if
opener.
I was going to pick an NFC team for the bowl, that would be it.
Green Bay would be your pick. So you've got Green Bay and Kansas City in the Super Bowl. All right.
Hey, you better pencil in the Steelers because I got a feeling that's.
You got a feeling about what? Your quarterback is 1,000 years old. It's over.
Yeah, he's still better than half of them out there. Better.
Texans are at the Rams. We're not sure on Matthew Stafford's condition, but looks like he's going to go. The Rams are a 3.5-point home favorite against Houston.
I didn't really talk about Rodgers like that last year.
Correct, you did not. Yes, when he was a Jet quarterback, no doubt.
Give me the Rams.
Got the Rams minus 3.5. Sunday Night Football. What a great game. Ravens in Buffalo. And Baltimore is a road favorite in Buffalo. 1.5 favorite for the Ravens.
I don't know what they know that I don't.
Yeah, what does Vegas know here?
Give me the Bills.
Buffalo plus 1.5. This is Josh Allen's year. I got a feeling. And then Monday night, everybody looking forward to J.J. McCarthy makes his debut as the Vikings play Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. The Bears are a 1.5 underdog at home. The Vikes are a road favorite.
Vikes.
Minnesota he's got. All right.
And again, don't ask me why. Give me the Vikes.
So we're taking teams with points. You take the Bills. He took the Giants. He took the Raiders. He certainly did not take the Jets in their opener this weekend. All right, buddy boy, we got to roll. Have a great weekend. By the way, in the updated standings race, as we head into the final 3 weeks of the year, the Yankees have 78 wins. The Mets have 75 wins.
Yeah, well, we'll see come October, right? The Yanks gave away an easy 15 games with their sloppy play, but.
Did you see, by the way, all Yankee fans were mad that Boone was at the North Carolina game Monday night. Did you see that?
Oh, no, it
Yeah, all the Yankee fans were like, "What's he doing? He's not mad," Yeah, the guy can't have a day off. Apparently, can't leave his house.
The way he's managing, he shouldn't have a day off. I love you. Have fun.
I love you
Bye-bye.
too. We'll talk to you later. All right. There he goes. My pops joining us each and every Friday throughout the football season with his NFL picks. He's taking the Vikings, folks. He took the Packers as well to knock off Detroit. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll reveal our eliminator picks, and we'll send you out the door. Hot Mike will wrap for the week right after this. All right, we've come to the end of the road for the week. Thanks to all of our great guests. Had a tremendous week of guests. Appreciate that. Back on Monday to recap the weekend that was for North Dakota State, for UND. They've got their home opener. It's Potato Bowl tomorrow night. I think they tweeted out their uniform combo for the game with Portland State for tomorrow night. They're going all green as UND for the matchup with the Vikings. So that's their uni combo, the green helmet, green jersey, green pants for the night opener at the Alaris. So we'll recap that coming up on Monday. And then Monday, it's game day with the Vikes playing Monday night against the Bears. We'll look forward to that coming up on Monday's show. So it'll be packed and ready to roll on that. We'll also recap week 1 from the NFL, which is a perfect segue to our initial eliminator picks. Now, for those that don't know, we have a $100 Shields gift card I got donated to me for the 6-year anniversary of the show. Decided, let's put it up for grabs, have some fun with it among our Hot Mic staff, people that work on the show every day, and my son is involved in it as well because the Jackman likes his football, at least to pick uniform combos. So here we go. Brody has got the Bengals as they're playing Cleveland. John has got the Broncos. Sam and Jack are both on the Cardinals. Justin's on the Patriots to knock off the Raiders. Strecker loves his Vikings. Boy, that might be a risky pick there because if you lose, you're out. Vikes have the Bears. Maddie and Matt both have the Commanders. You didn't go the Pack. I thought for sure you were going to take the Packers. What are you doing? You have full faith in your team, I thought.
I have faith in my team, but it's week 1, and I wanted to go with a surefire pick. Green Bay. I'm saving them for down in the road when they're playing like the Browns and the other crappy teams. So you got to say, you got to be strategic.
You got to be
about
strategic on your picks. Absolutely right. So Eric's got the Broncos. We got 2 on the Broncos, 2 on the Cardinals, 2 on the Commanders. So if any of those teams lose, you're out, and then you're done. But if you win, you move on, but you can't pick that team again the rest of the way. So those are our initial eliminator picks. We'll do it every Friday, and we'll see who the last person standing is by the time we're done. Good. It's fun stuff. We're looking forward to that. All right. We got about 8 segments of what to watch. Let's do it before we get out of here. It's a great high school night. It feels like it. Weather outside. We got a couple of dynamite games to show you. First up, we've got Minot North and South. Remember, that game is being played at Fargo North, as Tyler Coastal told us earlier this week. That's at 7 o'clock on Extra. Pelican Rapids and Barnesville coming up tonight as well. That's at 7. That's on WDAY 2 if you're looking for that game. So we got 2 games tonight on the high school side of things. Friday, what to watch? Obviously, we got the Chiefs and Chargers coming up tonight. That game's on YouTube at 7 o'clock. The Red Turf against the Blue Turf. Eastern Washington and Boise State tonight, 8 o'clock on FS1. And then the U.S. Open men's semifinals get going at 2 o'clock on ESPN from New York City. Looking forward to that. Again, tomorrow, Bison Game Day. We're live at 10 a.m. on WDAY, live from Nashville, right across the street from Nissan Stadium to get you ready for the Bison and the Tigers. The game on ESPN Plus at 1:30, and then we're back for Bison postgame live to wrap things up afterwards, exclusive on WDAY Plus. This weekend, our What to Watch features the Packers and Lions, 3:25 on CBS here locally on Sunday. Don't look for it on Fox. It's on CBS. Ravens and the Bills, Sunday night on NBC at 7:20. And we got the Cy-Hawk game this weekend, Iowa and Iowa State. That's at 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock on Saturday on Fox. You wake up, the first game out of the chute is that game with Iowa and Iowa State. And here's a look at all the games this weekend with the point spreads included on there. The Jets Steelers at noon. There'll be a full recap of that game coming up on Monday. There's a couple of good ones. Obviously the Sunday night game I'm looking forward to. There could be a couple of dogs though, like Jags Panthers. That may not be all that great. Browns Bengals. Ugh. We got to roll. Thanks to our guest today, to Reis Kessel, to Cory Provus, Leon Costello, of course, to my dad. If you missed anything, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com or watch a full replay on WDAY+. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the football wherever you're at. We're heading to Nashville. We'll see you tomorrow from the Music City. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you on Monday.